This is the Galaxy A17 5G. So I've used this device for several days and I can tell you exactly what daily life with this smartphone feels like beyond the marketing specs. I'm talking about the real performance, quirks, and daily experience you won't see on a spec sheet. Right out of the box, it's the same minimal unboxing experience. A Type-C to Type-C cable, a SIM ejector tool, user manual, and the phone itself. From the moment you take this device out of the box, it feels interesting. The design has changed from what the A16 5G looked like. It now looks closer to the A26, A36, and the A56 we've seen this year. Samsung dropped the plastic back we saw on the A16 5G and went with what they are calling a glass fiber finish. It's not exactly super premium, but it doesn't feel cheap either. It sits comfortably in the middle. The only downside here is that even though this is a matte back, it still picks up fingerprints and smudges pretty quickly. So if you don't use a pouch on this, you'll be wiping it down a lot. On the display side, we still get pretty much the same specs from its predecessor. The only good thing is that the display is now protected by a Corning Gorilla Glass Victus. This is about the nicest thing Samsung did here. The 6.7-inch screen is massive, but those bezels and the drop notch takes away from the look. From the back, it looks really good, but the front tells you a completely different story. Samsung still stuck with the IP54 splash resistance. If you're not dunking this in water, it will survive accidental splashes, but it is still not adequate. A lot of devices offer better protection at this price point. This is a Super AMOLED display, 1080p with a 90Hz panel. I don't have a problem when it comes to the display because, like always with Samsung, the colors and saturation are on point. But 90Hz is not the best you can get for this price, and it shows sometimes. It is smooth for normal use and when you're not pushing it to its limits. But when you push it with heavy multitasking, you'll notice lags and some apps refreshing in the background. It's not a deal breaker, but Samsung could have done better here. Indoors, the display looks great. It is almost perfect, but with just 800 nits of peak brightness, outdoor visibility is not the best. On sunny days, you'll probably be squinting to properly use this device outdoors. Now, about the Exynos 1330 chip on this device. This is where things get real. First of all, this chipset has been used across 3 generations of Samsung devices, and that is not a good feel. For everyday stuff like texting, social media, and some light gaming, it is fine. But when I try to multitask heavily or jump into more demanding games, you can feel its limits. It's not painfully slow, but there are those little processing moments that remind you this isn't a flagship device. My unit has the 8 gig of RAM with 256 gig storage. There is also a 6 gig RAM and 128 gig option. You get a micro SD slot too, but it shares the second SIM slot, so it's either one or the other. To these cameras, I wasn't really expecting a big change with the triple camera setup here. It's basically the same as the A16 5G. The only upgrade is that the main camera on this now comes with optical image stabilization. In good light, photos come out sharp, the colors are nice and punchy, and the dynamic range is solid. The ultra wide camera is what you call just there, but it is useful for group shots or landscapes. But you also notice the quality drop compared to the main lens. And the 2 megapixel macro lens, honestly, I just tried it twice just to see what it could do and then completely forgot about it. It's more of a spec sheet filler than a useful camera. On the front, you get a 13 megapixel selfie cam. It is fine for video calls and the selfies look decent if you have good light. Nothing groundbreaking, but it gets the job done. In low light, it is honestly not the best. It is not completely bad, but when you try to take photos of people, it doesn't look too flattering. You start to see some more noise, the contrast drops, and the colors looks kind of washed out. Dynamic range also feels limited. So overall, the low light shots are just not that impressive. Now for the video recording, both rear and selfie camera max out at 1080p at 30 fps. The OIS on this really helps keeps the footage steady, which is nice. As for the zoom, this is what it looks like. At 0.5x, you get that wide stretch view, perfect for fitting more in the frame, but the edges aren't as sharp. At 1x, this is where you get the cleanest and most stable video. At 2x, it still looks decent with good detail and color retention, although the sharpness drops a little. Moving to 4x, you start to notice the drop in quality. It gets softer and you see some noise. Then at 10x zoom, it's really just for fun. The videos look grainy, the colors take a hit, and it gets really shaky. So don't expect pro quality here. It is fine if you just want to zoom in on something far away, but that's that about it. One UI 7, like I've said in other reviews, feels great, super intuitive and easy to use. It feels familiar if you've used Samsung devices before. It is clean, customizable, and doesn't come with a lot of bloatware. There are some Samsung apps I'll never use, but they are not intrusive. We still don't get any massive AI features like you expect from other devices at this price, but Circle to Search works great. We get Android 15 out of the box, and Samsung continues with its promise of 6 years Android and security upgrades, which is impressive. The side-mounted fingerprint scanner is fast and reliable, and it is a perfect fit for where my thumb naturally rests, so it is easy to reach and unlock. I personally would have preferred an under-display reader, but this works just fine. Samsung still continues with its 5000 milliamp battery capacity on the A17 5G. It is not bad because even as a heavy user, you can go through most of the day on a single charge. The 25 watts charging isn't the fastest, but it gets the job done as long as you get a compatible fast charger. There's still no headphone jack, and it still gets a single downfiring speaker, loud enough but nothing special for media consumption. The phone can get warm during intensive tasks, but never uncomfortably hot. It's just something I notice during longer and heavier use sessions. Now, let's talk price. The A17 5G goes for about $260 on Amazon, and here in Nigeria, the 256 gig will cost you as much as 355,000 naira. In my opinion, for that amount, you're better off with the A26, the A36, or even last year's A16 5G, which costs way less. At the end of the day, the Galaxy A17 5G is not a big leap forward. Samsung definitely played it safe here, or rather, too safe. But if you want a big display, solid battery life, and cameras that do fine in good lighting, it delivers without so much fuss. Still, for this price, you'll find better value elsewhere. But if you're still set on Samsung and you need a reliable everyday phone, the A17 5G gets the job done. It's not exciting, but it covers the basics, and sometimes that is what you really need. So yeah, that is my take on the Galaxy A17 5G. You know how we do it here. Don't forget to share your thoughts on this device in the comment section. Like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. As always, I'll catch you guys on the next one.